Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So let us continue our class on Java. In this video we will be talking about while loop and do while loop and some more programmings on looping structure. So let us begin the class with the little bit of recap of for loop. So the for loop had three parts. The first part was my initialization, second part was my condition, and third part was my updation. After that, within second bracket, we had the statements that we want to repeat. So you see here, all the three parts for a looping structure in for loop are in the same line. So the while loop and do while loop is almost having similar syntaxes, but a little difference is there. These three parts are distributed. These three parts in case of while loop and do while loop are placed in different location. So let us see the syntax of while loop. So the while loop, in case of while loop, the initialization is at the top, then we had the condition after the while keyword, then within second bracket we have the statements that need to be repeated, and before the second bracket close we have the updation portion here. So let us see the syntax of my do while structure. So again it begins with the initialization, then we have the do keyword, then within second brackets we have the statements, before the second bracket closes we have the updation part, and the condition part is kept at the last. So you see one difference here is that in case of do while loop we are having a semicolon, but not in case of my while. This is because what I told, the semicolon act as a terminating statement, isn't it? So in case of while loop, it is just the beginning here, the loop structure that begins here. It is not the end of the looping structure. So we do not provide here a semicolon. But in case of the do while structure, you see the while and the condition part is given at the end of the looping structure. So we to provide a termination of the looping structure, we are providing the semicolon. Understood? So now talking about the difference, let us go to the differences of while loop and do while loop. So while loop is called as entry control loop, whereas my do while loop is called as exit control loop. Why so? So you see in the syntax of while loop, the control structure, that is the condition of the looping structure, is at the time of entry, is at the beginning of the looping structure. That is why it is called as entry control loop. Okay. Whereas in case of do while loop, the condition or the control structure of the looping statement is at the end, that is at the exit of the looping structure. That is why it is called as exit control loop. Next is, if the condition in case of my while loop is false, then the loop won't execute for even one time. But in case of my do while loop, if the condition is false, the loop will execute at least one time. So let us see the explanation of this second point. So suppose we are talking about a small code fragment here. So I have done the initialization that I equals to 10. Then I am checking the condition that if my I is less than equals to 5, then I will print the numbers and increment it. So the initial value of I is 10. Then I am checking whether my value of I is less than equals to 5. The condition is false. Since the condition is false, the loop won't execute even for one time. But if the same program is done using do while loop, let us see what happens. So initialization is done with 10. So then the looping structure begins. But since the condition is not asked at the beginning, rather in the end, so the looping structure is executed. Then the value is incremented. Then when it encounters the second bracket, then it checks for the condition. And when it checks now, it returns the value? It returns a false value. so the loop won't execute anymore. So you see in this scenario, even if the condition was not matching, the loop executed for at least one time. Okay, so this is the difference between your while loop and do while loop. So let us go to some programs. So it is told that to display the first 20 whole numbers. So if you have not remember the looping programs, then here I am leaving a card. You can go and watch the videos of my for loop. Okay, so it is told to display the first 20 whole numbers. So my whole number starts with 0 and it will go up to 19, and every time the whole number will be increased by 1, and I need to print the numbers every time. So this is my programming structure. So let us see what will be this same program if we utilize while loop. So as you have seen here, the three looping parts are in the same line. But in case of while loop, the initialization is brought before, then we have the condition and the updation just before the termination of the while structure. Okay, let us now see in case of do while loop. So again in the same manner, the initialization part at the beginning, then we have the do keyword, and then the second bracket opens, then we have the repeating statements here. Just before the second bracket closes, we have the updation, and finally the condition portion with a semicolon. Okay, so let us continue with some more programs. So it is told that we have to take input a number and we have to display it factors. So you know what a factor is? If not, basically if a number is divisible by another number, then that another number is called a factor of that number. So divisibility means, in case of computer, we can say in another definition that if I divide one number with another number and the remainders come 0, then we can say that number is that another number is a factor of the first number. Okay, so let us take up the program. So we have taken input a number and we have started the loop from 1 up till that number. Why from 1? Because 1 is the least factor and the highest factor of that number is the number itself. Okay, and factors lies between 1 up till that number. So as I told, how to generate the factor, that if I divide the number and see the remainder, it will come 0, then I can say it is a factor. So I am checking whether my number, if I divide with the numbers that I am generating, if it is remainder coming 0, then that is a factor. I am just displaying that. So let us see what will be in case of if I utilize the while loop. So this is the program. The initialization part is brought at the beginning, then we have the condition, and then just before the looping structure ends, we have the updation part. Okay, next one is we have to take input to numbers and we have to find out the LCM and HCF. So LCM means least common multiple and HCF is highest common factor. And here in this program we will utilize another formula that if we multiply HCF and LCM, we will get the value equal to the product of the two numbers. Okay, so in this program we will utilize this formula in order to find out the LCM. We can find out the HCF by using the concept that we will proceed in descending order from any number and we will check whether that number is divisible dividing the both number or not. So if it is dividing, then we have the highest factors that is common to it and then we will generate the HCF. So let us see the program. So here I have taken two numbers and input. I am initializing two variables to store my LCM and HCF, and then I am beginning my for loop in descending order starting from the value a, and it will go up to 1. So you may have one question here, that why have I initialized with a, why not with b? See here, it doesn't matter whether I start from a or b. So I will show you in an example. With the help of an example, I will discuss this matter. So let us continue for now. So I am proceeding in a descending order, and what I am doing here is that I am checking whether this generated number is dividing both my number a and b. So if it is generating, then that will be my highest value, highest common factor. So I am storing that in my HCF, and then the break keyword is there. What is the purpose of break keyword is that whenever it encounters a break keyword, it will transfer the control out of the block of statements. Here in this case, it is transferring the control out of the looping structure. That means it will terminate the looping structure if it encounters break statement. And here you see I have utilized the AND operation. So you remember the AND operation? So if not, then I am leaving here a card in the right hand corner so that you can have a quick recap of the AND operators. Okay. So if both the numbers are divisible, then only the overall result will be true value, and hence the HCF value will be set as the factor and my looping structure will end. And then, as I told, we will be utilizing the formula to calculate the LCM, and we will finally print these two values. So let us see an example. So suppose I have taken the value of a as 4 and b as 6. Then what will be the execution? Let us see. So my loop begins with the value of a, that is 4, and now the condition is checked, that is, if the remainder with 4 and I is 0 and the remainder with 6 and I is 0. No, that is not the situation, because 4 is divisible by 4 but 6 is not divisible by 4. So the overall result is false, hence this part won't execute. So the next part will start. So I value is 3. So 4 is not divisible by 3 but 6 is divisible by 3. So we are having one true value, one false value. So the overall result in case of AND operation is false. So this again won't execute. Then I value is 2. In this scenario, both the part will give a true result. Hence, this if part overall result will be true. Hence, the highest common factor we will get, and it will encounter the break statement. It will come out of the looping structure, and then the LCM will be calculated with the help of the formula, and then finally my LCM and HCF will be displayed. Okay. So you remember just now I told that it doesn't matter if I take the initial value as A or B. So let us change up the value and see. So now we take the value of A as 6 and B as 4. So we have changed the value. So let us see if it supports or not. So the loop starts with the value of A, that is 6. So now 6 is divisible by 6 but 4 is not divisible by 6. So overall result is false. I is equal to 5. So 6 is not divisible by 5. At the same time 4 is not divisible by 5. So overall result is false. So HCF value won't be initialized. Now I equals to 4. Same situation. Overall result is false. For the same, for I value equals to 3. The overall result is also false. But again, when it comes with 2, the overall result is true because both are satisfying. Hence, this part, the loop structure, the if part will get executed, and my HCF will be stored with the value 2, and then it will come out of the looping structure because of the break keyword. The LCM will be generated, and finally the LCM and HCF will be printed. So you see, both are having the same output, isn't it? So hope you have understood. So if you are having any doubts, you mention it in the comment area. Okay, so see you soon in my next video. Okay.